I got this from my local game shop. It was marked as defective, so I decided to pick it up and repair it. My hope is to make this my go-to NES for whenever I want to play any games. I mean, check it out. It has some awesome Super Power Clip stickers on it. I can't let that go. Also, it has a problem with the 72-pin connector. I can't pull this game out. To reach my goal of having this my everyday NES, I have a few things on my fix list that I have to get to, which are the blinking LED/lockout issue, how tight the 72-pin connector is, and replacing all the capacitors, which is going to be the most time consuming. I linked the iFixit disassembly guide in the description just in case you need to disassemble your NES. To get inside the console, I first have to take out the 6 Phillips head screws located on the bottom side of the NES. Now I can remove the top. The metal shielding here has to go. It's held down by a junk load of screws. Goodbye, shield. Just kidding, I'll put you back later. To gain access to the board, you gotta take these screws out. Come here, stubborn boy. Now I gotta take out the 3 connectors on the motherboard so I can have it free. It's time to remove the bottom shielding and the 72-pin connector. Oh yeah, I'll be fixing that later. I need to separate the RF/power module from the actual board. To do this, I have to desolder 9 points. Alright, I need to take a second and shout out James Newman 9547. He told me about the soldering pump, the blue thing you've been seeing. I've been grabbing that way more than I've been grabbing my desoldering gun in this video. I shouldn't say way more. I mean 0. I have literally not picked up my desoldering gun. If you're interested in picking one up, I'll link it in the description below. But I do have to say again, thanks James. This thing is life-changing, man. With these 5 points left, I just got to remove the solder and then I can take out the RF/power module so I can get to the capacitors. But first, I got to douse this thing with IPA and clean it off. Can't leave any of that flux lying around. With the module released from the board, I got to get this shield off. It looks like you got to pull up on these little fins on the top to make it come off easier. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Nice. I can see 5 capacitors here that I need to replace. I buy my cap kits from Console5. If you need one, check my description for the link. To easily find the solder points on the back of the board, I referred to nesdev.org. They have all 5 revisions of the NES and the capacitance for each capacitor's location. To me, the forum post is a must-use, not just for time saving, but for accidental desoldering. There have been many times on other projects where I flipped the board over and back just to realize I had desoldered the wrong leg. It happens. With the capacitors fully desoldered, I can easily remove all 5 of them now. Well, the 5 that I saw anyways. I'm pretty sure this big one is for power. It's massive. Checking the top of the board, I'm looking for polarity indicators. So it looks like the white area is negative and the open area is positive. On the replacement capacitors, this white area means negative. So I'll pair this white area with the white area on the board to have correct polarity. Here's how I install capacitors. I thread it through and then flip it over and then pull the legs out so it can hang there by itself. With my index finger, I'm pushing the cap towards the board so when it's finished being soldered, it will be vertical, not cocked to one side or the other. I grab my flush cutters to cut the excess legs off. And then I decided to load all the other capacitors in. Plus, yeah, the huge one too. And then I use some flux on the second cap I'm soldering in. But after this one, I decided not to use flux because when I tested without it, the flow of solder looked pretty good and the joints looked good as well, so I was happy with it. Soldering the big capacitor takes a minute because there's more metal in the legs, so it takes a while for the heat to transfer. Now I just need to snip out all the legs. Snip, 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 snip. Looking at the board again, there's actually 6 capacitors that need to be replaced. And for me, it's right here. So I'm going to desolder these 2 holes. Well, that fell out. And then install the new one. Alright, seated right, spread legs. Solder, solder. Cool. Snippity snip. Awesome, this completes the recap for the RF/power module. The caps that are left are these 3 here. I started out by marking the spots where I needed to desolder so I didn't have to keep flipping the board back and forth. I picked that tip up from Borderline OCD. He has a great channel if you don't know, so go check him out. For these capacitors, I decided to use low melt solder. What it does, it's able to stay in a liquid form for a longer amount of time, so you can wiggle out the device or object you're trying to remove off the board. Now I'm just cleaning the area with desoldering wick and some flux to get all the low melt solder off. Then you see I do it again here. Watch, and you just pull it out. Nice. And then clean it up. So you got to get rid of all the low melt solder in there. Yep. And then flux again. Applying the desoldering wick again. And it looks good. Yep. And then I move to the last capacitor here. See it marked again. Yep. And I like to, I like to pull on it a little bit, you see, and then like tap, 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 tap. Cool. And you know how this goes. Clean the area again, desoldering pump, boom, boom. Cool. A little bit of flux, cool. And then desoldering braid again. Nice. I clean it up with some IPA and a cotton swab. Everywhere. Now installing 3 caps. 1, push legs. 2, push legs on the back. Cool. And right there, C23. 3. Cool. And push it down like it was originally. And then these 2, I'm going to also push down. Cool. Flip the board over. Solder them down. 1, 2. Cool. Snip. Snip. 1, 2. Snip. Snip. Oh, clean it up. Some IPA. Good. Get that cotton swab thing out of here. And then 2 more. 1, 2. Awesome. Pull this up a bit. Oh, I got stuck on my snips. Oh, still stuck. Oh, jeez. Oh, my God. Oh, all right, here we go. Snip. Snip. Cool. Clean it up. Nice. Oh, gotta get that off. Oh, got it. All right, cool. Awesome. The caps are all replaced. Now I just got to work on this lockout chip right here. To disable the blinking red light, I got to snip the 4th leg from the left. Admittedly, this looks like shit, but if I want to solder it back on later, I can. With that done, I need to fix how tight the 72 pin connector is. I have these spare boards that are broken, and then I'm just going to shove them in here and head over to the stove. So I'm going to bring this pot of water to a rolling boil like this. Now I'm just gonna throw the 72 pin connector in, and then after 20 minutes pull it out. I shook it down and now I'm letting it dry on a paper towel. This is not an OEM 72 pin connector, this is a replacement one, so the boiling trick works with this too. Sick. Here's the struggle before and now after. Oh, all the fixes are done. Let's test this thing out. Awesome, it works. Looks like this is my go-to NES now. If you made it this far, I really appreciate you sticking around. If you have been doing electronics and soldering for a really long time and have some methods you would like to share with me to make my life easier when I do this, I would love that. Please leave it down below in the comments for me. If you would like to know any of my gear for my cameras and stuff that I use for this video, or any of my equipment that I've used, such as like my soldering iron or anything else like that, check my description. It has everything there. Thanks for watching my video, and I hope to see you in the next one.